is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
New dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
At the end of this show, we will have a pretty big announcement. Don't forget, later in the show, we have a huge announcement coming, so you're going to want to stick around for that. No question. It's announcement time. We bring you the big reveal. Going forward, we will be exclusively seen on our social media accounts. But if you want to hear this show in your car, you're going to have to download the podcast. We will bring you a lot more Main Street preps, Main Street coverage. And with that, we must brand ourselves Main Street Sports today.
Let's do it.
Welcome into Main Street Sports today. I like the let's do it, Mo. Sounds about right. I don't know how many times I'm going to get that wrong today or this week, but Main Street Sports today coming to you from the Lee Company studio. Glad to have you with us here on Reaction Monday. Looking forward to it. Boy, do we have a great show lined up for you. We have Zach Wobble coming on to talk about some Sumner County sports, including number 1 ranked Beach Boys basketball. We've got Teresa Walker, who will join us to talk Titans and see how they are handling things up in Nashville and getting ready for the Cincinnati Bengals. We will talk about the Bengals and how they got to the second round, the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and everyone else who happened to make their way to round number 2. College hoops and much more coming your way. But before we do any of that, Mo, how are you doing?
Just trying to stay warm.
Trying to stay warm. That's always the easiest thing to do. These easiest thing to do inside the house anyway.
Yeah.
Which is what we are doing.
That's it. That's it. Staying in.
So
nothing for me outside.
I didn't lose anything out there.
Nope, not a thing. If it's out there, I don't need it.
I don't need it.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I'm looking forward to this show. It's a really good show coming to you. So before we get to our top story of the day, why don't we go through some results from over the weekend, Mo, and get to today's schedule that, I don't know there's a lot going on nationally, but nothing here locally, and that's okay. But we'll get to the results from the weekend, today's schedule on the Rundown.
This is the Rundown.
Let's do it.
The Monday Rundown is brought to you by Zion Christian Academy, providing a Christ-centered college prep education at an affordable cost. Call 931-388-5731 or visit zioneagles.org to schedule an appointment for a tour today.
In high school basketball action over the weekend, Friday night boys games, Lincoln County defeated Lawrence County 71-68. It was Page 65, Spring Hill 35. Culleoka with a 55-47 win over visiting Hampshire. Loretto defeated Mount Pleasant 50-35, and it was Hillsborough 61, Summit 54.
Independence down Nolansville 81-48. It was Columbia Central 57, Ravenwood 54. Columbia Academy down Summertown 84-73. On Saturday, Columbia Central knocked off Spring Hill 50-38, and Columbia Academy down Lighthouse Christian of Antioch 89-50.
In high school girls action over the weekend on Friday night, Lawrence County edged Lincoln County 42-41. It was Page with a big 70-20 win over Spring Hill. Culleoka downing Hampshire 53-45. It was Loretto 95, Mount Pleasant 26, and Summit wins a low-scoring affair 36-33 over Hillsborough.
Nolensville down Independence 59-46. Ravenwood with a 72-61 win over Columbia Central. Summertown 68, Columbia Academy 45 on Saturday. In the McDonald's shootout, it was Columbia Central 49, Spring Hill 42. Columbia Academy, a 68-37 winner over Lighthouse Christian.
Fun fact, Columbia Academy's boys and girls hit 25 total threes in those two wins over Lighthouse Christian. in high school wrestling over the weekend, Summit's boys and girls both went to the Franklin Admiral Invitational. Both finished fourth. Landon DeSalle won the 132-pound boys championship. 7 of his teammates collected medals. On the girls' side, the Lady Spartans with 3 finalists and Emma Stevenson with the 138-pound championship. NCAA women's basketball over the weekend. FIU defeats MTSU 56-54. It was Belmont downing Murray State 67-52. On Sunday, LSU with a 82-64 win over Vanderbilt, and number 5 Tennessee 84, number 19 Kentucky 58.
In men's action, MTSU defeated FIU 50-39. It was Morehead State a winner over Tennessee State. Murray State 82, Belmont 60. Kentucky, number 18 ranked Kentucky 107, 22nd ranked Tennessee 79. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Mississippi State edged Alabama 78-76. Vanderbilt down Georgia 73-66. In NBA action, the Grizzlies finally lose. The Mavericks get the best of Memphis 112-85. And the Preds take a point in Boston but lose in overtime 4-3.
Today's high school wrestling action was supposed to have Summit at the Rossview Duels today. I get a feeling that didn't take place.
Probably not.
I don't know that conclusively. NCAA men's basketball action today. Right now, Tennessee Tech and Tennessee State are playing on ESPN Plus. At 6 o'clock this evening, it will be Belmont at Southern Illinois Edwardsville. Again, that's at 6 o'clock on ESPN Plus.
In NBA action, the Bulls are at the Grizzlies. That's a 2:30 tip here momentarily. That you can see it on TNT, or you can just watch us and catch that later. I don't know. NHL action tonight. The Preds are at St. Louis. It's a 7 p.m. puck drop on Bally Sports South. And, of course, NFL action tonight. ESPN, ABC, Monday Night Football at 7:15. It's the Cardinals at the Rams. And that's going to do it for your rundown. Mo, real quick, in our top story, number 5 Lady Vols can stay number 5, by the way, in the AP poll that just released earlier today. They absolutely dismantled number 19 Kentucky, getting a little revenge for the men's team in the We Back Pat Week, downing the Lady Cats 84-58 at Thompson Bowling Arena on Sunday.
I don't know that was necessarily the intent, but it did kind of work out that way, I guess.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm sure Rick Barnes will take any help he can get right now. It probably would. I wonder if Ray Burrell can help him out any. So, yeah, I was impressed. I mean, it always gets my attention when Ryan Howard comes back to Thompson Bowling Arena, because that's where she should have been anyway. But they did a good job working around her. I don't know what she finished with in that ball game, but she wasn't nearly as troublesome as Kentucky would have hoped. And that's a big win. Again, Kentucky ranked 19 coming in, and UT's only loss remains that Stanford game from a few weeks back. So definitely on a roll right now, playing some good basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and Ray Burrell being back and everything kind of looking up for the Lady Vols through SEC play. Of course, you've got a tough schedule. I mean, LSU with a big win over Vanderbilt this weekend. And, of course, South Carolina is always fantastic. It's going to be a tough road through SEC play to the SEC tournament, but Lady Vols looking good at this point and really excited about the rest of their season.
I think you have to be encouraged by the fact that Tennessee was able to do what they did yesterday without Tamari Key for a large portion of the game. She sustained what turned out to be an ankle injury, but what was thought at the time to be a knee injury and was feared to be pretty significant, but really balanced yesterday. The Vols were scoring 84 points, but nobody scored more than 14.
That's what you like to see. Tamari Key is apparently day to day, according to Kelly Harper. So that's phenomenal news as well.
Absolutely. Had 6 rebounds and 6 points in her 13 minutes before she left the game. So she was getting ready to have a big day. In addition to Burrell and Key and Green coming off the bench with 14 each. But yeah, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 different players scored for UT in that win.
Hey, balance is key.
Yeah,
a nice balanced diet, especially in the SEC play, because you don't want to give anyone the ability to take away one player and beat you. So huge for Kelly Harper, big win, and looking forward to, again, the rest of their season. Let's get to some high school hoops. On the other side of the break, we talk to Zach Womble and talk about the number 1 ranked Beach Buccaneers, as well as some other teams in his area and a big game that he saw over the weekend. So stick around. Zach Womble coming up on Main Street Sports Today right after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Southern. See, I did it. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Trying to get my my Twitter up here because I want to make sure that we get as much love for Zach Womble as possible. Oh, that's just no good. Anyway, oh well, it is what it is. Mo, the Associated Press top 10 was released just recently, and the let's just say this: AP polls are incredibly subjective. Voters are there. I don't even know. I don't know exactly how to say. Most of them don't have any idea about the rest of the state other than what they cover. So it's really hard to vote in a poll like that, especially in a state where one city is closer to Canada than it is another city in the state. I mean,
there are some very, and I mean, this is the only state that I've lived in. It's the only state that I have voted on a high school sports poll in, but I just know the geographics of this state really work against something of this magnitude. It's tough, like you said. It's tough for folks in Johnson City to know what's going on in Memphis. And honestly, when you're working the way high school sports writers are, it's a little tough to care. But hopefully you are, at least doing some networking with some other folks and that kind of thing to kind of have an idea. But last week it's clear that Beach is the number one team in the state right now.
No question there.
And like you said, we're going to talk to Zach here in just a second about that. But last week's poll in 4A, Columbia Central was basically 11th in the top 10. They were they received 28 points in the balloting, which put them 1 point behind 10th ranked Green Hill at number 10. Columbia Central wins 3 games last week. They defeat Overton. They defeat a good Ravenwood team at Ravenwood, and they defeat Spring Hill, and lost points because this week the only team receiving 12 or more points was Science Hill, and they got 16. So after going 3-0 and getting to 15-2, I think, on the year now, Columbia Central nowhere to be seen in the 4A rankings. I mean, not even in the receiving votes. And I don't know that I expected them to crack it necessarily, but certainly would not have expected them to lose points after going 3-0. So,
well,
who am I and what do I know?
Here's the thing: Green Hill lost points as well. They only got 19 this week instead of the 28 that they received last week. So I'm not sure how that particular. Also, somebody didn't vote because they only had 12 first place votes. That means at least one person didn't vote that voted last week.
Were there 13 last week?
There were 13 last week. So that could have something to do with it. Who knows?
It's interesting.
It certainly is.
Yeah. But I just thought that was a little intriguing, I guess.
There you go. Mo, let's bring in our esteemed colleague from Sumner County.
Oh, you put my video up there. I was expecting somebody else. How are you guys doing today?
I said esteemed. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I threw you off with esteemed. That's my bad. Our colleague from up north. Zach Womble joins us now. Zach, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just enjoying the day. Kind of feel like we're getting back to normal a little bit over here at the Womble household. But, I heard you guys talking about several different things as I was sitting and waiting. Nice to hear some Lady Vols coverage. Nice to hear you guys talk about the Tennessee Lady Vols. And, Columbia, Mo, you wondered what happened to them. And, there's someone I've seen, kind of kept an eye on and just watching to see how they were doing because I know they played – I believe it was Pope Prep. I know Pope Prep won that game, but I was just kind of going through their schedule and just kind of looking at who they beat. And I thought Columbia was a really good win for them. To see them not there was kind of shocking a little bit.
Their two losses, Zach, are to Pope Prep over there at that tournament in Riverdale right before Christmas, and to Lebanon, who's beaten everybody except Summit, apparently.
Right.
So, and we're really looking forward to that District 12 4A with Central, Independence, Summit, Ravenwood, and Nolansville, and that I think that Columbia Independence game in particular is going to be worth keeping an eye on. So, but yeah, I think it's going to be some really good ball, and I think they've played really well. But you get a chance to prove it all at the end of the year, so we'll see how it goes.
That's exactly right. And I think a lot of coaches will tell you, rankings right now don't mean anything. And, basketball is a tournament sport, and, you want to be playing your best basketball then. So let them figure it out then and try to get in the polls at that point in time.
Absolutely. Zach Womble with us here on Main Street Sports today. And Zach, you've had a lot of fun watching this undefeated Beach Buccaneers team, 21-0. Impressive. That's a big number.
Yeah, I mean, I was going through Sumner County history and just kind of trying to look at, because, in our job, we want to try to look ahead and piece things together and say, well, if they get this win, they could get to this number. And so, you're trying to look back, and undefeated seasons are hard to come by. And, there's only been one that I've found in Sumner County history to win it all, and that was the Gallatin girls basketball team back in 1987.
I saw that team.
Yeah, when they went 34-0. So that was before I was obviously in Sumner County, but it's hard to do. 21-0, and they've beaten some good teams. I wrote it down here. You're looking at the Summit team that you guys know well on the road. I think anytime you can win on the road, especially a place like that, at Oakland, at Ravenwood, Bearden, CPA, Pope Prep, Green Hill. I mean, those are just some of the ranked wins that they have. So it's not like they're beating up on these bad teams. And while there are some cupcakes in that schedule, if you look at it, I don't want to call anyone out because that's just not what we're going to do. But there are certainly some easy wins in there. But they have certainly been tested, and they were tested again Friday night. And I obviously didn't see the end of that game. Had family things to take care of, but getting a report from my guys there, Hendersonville was in that game with 2 minutes left, and then they got outscored. I think it was by 10 by the Bucks. I think it might have been tied like 42-42, something like that with 2 minutes left, and weren't able to score again for the rest of the game, whereas Beach went on a run. In a game where Eli Rice didn't even score. And some people might tell you that Eli Rice is their best player, but he didn't score. He got in foul trouble early. He had 3 in the first half, first 2 quarters. And so he really never got into a rhythm. But Tyler Moore, their point guard, part of the two-headed monsters that transferred in from Station Camp this offseason for them, has really stepped up. And he was big for them in that game and kind of helped steer them to a win. But, yeah, 21-0, doing it in several different ways. Anxious to see kind of how they finish out this season because I do think there's some potential L's on their schedule.
Now, I think Columbia Academy accounts for one of those 21, and they are ranked number 3 in Division 2A. So, like you said, Beach has gone out and played some good folks, and 21-0 is nothing to sneeze at against Air, but certainly against the schedule that they have played against.
Yeah, they can score, they can get up and down the floor. They can shoot from distance. I had saw something. They were outscoring their opponents by like plus 400 at one point this season, maybe before the Hendersonville game. I'm having a hard time remembering what I wrote down. But, yeah, if you go on their Max Preps link, it's like they've scored 1,500 some odd points, and they're giving up 1,000 some odd change. So, I mean, they are just lighting teams up, and they can put the ball in the basket. And, when they're hitting, I mean, I don't know who all can run with them. I would still say that Brandon Miller and the Cane Ridge Ravens are probably the team to beat because I think that he is the best basketball player in the state, and I don't think it's close. Like Christian Shaw, a really good basketball player, signed with ETSU, nothing to sneeze about. Eli Rice is going to end up somewhere. Tyler Moore's going to end up somewhere. Andrew Page, I mean, he's a 1,000-point scorer in basketball. He's hold Division I offers in football. I mean, they are littered with talent, but I just think Brendan Miller is in a class of his own. That team has been tested so far. They're playing in national tournaments out west in Arkansas. They're going up against the cream of the crop in the country, and I think that's going to pay dividends for them in the future. But yeah, I mean, there's Beach. They're certainly as good as their record suggest, I would say.
No question there, Zach. Some of the other things that you've seen recently, I think you did get a chance to go out this weekend to see that Pope Prep and Father Ryan doubleheader. And I will tell you, speaking of 1,000 point scorers, Mary Mackey was as good as advertised as well.
Yeah, she was. She hit two. First off, that was a low scoring game, and
Yep.
Father Ryan has struggled to score points over the last several games. I think it was like 34 points per game, but giving up only 28. So I mean, as stagnant as their offense may be, they're at least locking down on defense and getting wins by scoring middle of the 30s. But she come out and hit 2 threes in the first half, and she had a pure stroke, that's for sure. And Father Ryan was kind of behind the 8 ball early. They were missing some shots, and Pope Prep kind of hit some shots early and got out to a lead. But Coach DeMarney, Pope Prep's first-year coach from, I believe it's Illinois, she drew up a really good defensive game plan on Mary and had a defender stick with her anywhere she went. I mean, on the bench, she was sitting beside her, down low, she was guarding her, she didn't leave her side. And so they did a really good job of that. And then she actually didn't get a shot the entire third quarter and didn't get a shot until, I think it was 2 minutes or a minute in the fourth quarter, to which she sank, of course, nothing but the bottom of the net to tie the game at 30, the game's first tie of the contest. But just a really steady shot. All her teammates have the trust in the world in her, and she's got trust in her teammates. And so I think that's what allowed them to kind of come back, because Mary knew she didn't have to do it all on her own. She could depend on her other teammates, to which they came through for her, and they got a steal on the road for sure.
And an overtime matchup in that boys game was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was a really good boys game, and I anticipated it to be so. I mean, Father Ryan and Pope Prep is a really good rivalry, one that means a lot to both communities. And Pope Prep actually has a transfer, Joseph Bills, from Father Ryan, and I was able to talk to him after the game, and he said, you want to try to treat it as any other game, but being from there, it certainly means a little bit more. No hard feelings transferring from there. I think maybe it was a family decision, maybe academics wise, that maybe Pope Prep offered something that Father Ryan didn't. But like he said, he still keeps in contact with those guys, but now he's got bragging rights because, he is a senior, and, he played really well in that game, to which, Pope Prep, they didn't play great in the first half. Father Ryan came out hitting their shots, and they won the rebound margin by a big mark. And, they really dominated that in the first half. But in the second half, Pope Prep showed what they are and what they could be, which is a team that has really, really good guard play and a big man that is, while he is raw, he is still 6'4", long arms, can rebound, defend, block shots. And so if you just get him in the right place at the right time, keep him on his feet, don't go for the bump fakes, it gives him an inside presence. So Pope Prep looked really good in that game in that second half, and kind of showed, building off of that NBA win the night before, that they are a team to be reckoned with. And Joseph Bills said it perfectly. He said, when you think of D2 AA basketball, Pope Prep is not the first team that you think about. And we kind of enjoy being that underdog, and we enjoy that mentality. And I think it helps us. And, this is a team that was up by 13 on Innsworth in the third quarter at home last Tuesday. They ultimately ended up losing the game to a team that has a guy that's signed with Vanderbilt and Malik Dia. But, I think this is a really good basketball team that could make some noise. I got CPA coming up next week before a couple of non-conference games. But I really think you can see this Pope Prep team make a run at it.
Zach Womble of Main Street Prep. Zach, tell them about Full Court Press. Where can they find your podcast? They want to hear more about Sumner County sports or sports in the mid-state area.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can head on over to Twitter, Full Court Press Podcast, FCP_MSP. Like I said, your one-stop shop for all things hoops in Sumner County. Hope you'll give us a listen and a like and subscribe.
All right. That's Zach Womble. Thank you, man. We appreciate your time.
Of course, guys. Anytime.
All right. When we come back, we're going to talk some more hoops, but it'll be college. We move up in the ranks. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today comes back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Mopat, and JP Plant on the controls with you here. And, man, what a weekend of college basketball we had. Saturday saw a couple of pretty impressive wins. Not many more impressive than Kentucky, 38 points over Tennessee. And 107 points in a college basketball game is tough to do, Mo. But when you only miss like 20 shots in the game, it gets a little easier. They shot 68% from the floor. Did Kentucky, I think a little over 50 from three-point range, and made 20 of 21 from the charity stripe. I think the basket looked like a dadgum ocean out there.
Well, they shot it well, but I'm gonna check your math just a second. It was 28 only 28 points. Yeah. Rick Barnes is saying it was bad enough. Let's not make it any worse. But, as you and I were texting back and forth after the game on Saturday, it was kind of hard to think that Kentucky was going to lose a game, particularly at Rupp, just hours after the news of the passing of Joe B. Hall early Saturday morning. So,
that certainly didn't help matters.
That didn't help the juju, I don't think, for UT going in there. I mean, that may have just been a wrong place, wrong time kind of deal as much as anything. But surely take nothing away from Kentucky and the job that they did. Shebway and Tata Washington and those guys. Sometimes Kentucky is just going to be Kentucky, and you don't really want to be there when that happens. And that kind of looked like it might have been some of the case on Saturday.
Yeah, honestly, there's just something that's going on defensively right now for Tennessee, and this is a really good defensive basketball team for the most part. I think Tennessee had only given up more than 70 points like one other time this year, and they almost gave up 70 in the first half. I mean, it was insanity. So, but that just goes to show you how good this Kentucky team is, because sometimes you can't. I mean, you have to play. You can't play up in their face the whole time, because they can get to the paint, get to the rim, they can drive by you. They're just so quick. This is a really good Kentucky basketball team. They didn't look very good to start the season, but they have certainly come on here in the last couple of months, and I'm surprised they're actually not in the top 10 of the AP poll this week, but nonetheless, they are not. But a really good job by John Calipari and his staff to get this team, back on track, because they certainly look like it could have gone the other direction earlier this year.
Yeah, I don't know if we see how good Kentucky is or if we see how good Kentucky can be, because like you said, they've not really sustained that level of play over a lengthy period of time, I don't think. And I think that's probably what's kind of giving folks pause in terms of putting them in the top 10. They come in at 12 in the poll that came out earlier today, moving up from 18. Tennessee fell from 22 to 24 with the loss. Yeah. And it just seems like, as you look across the Southeastern Conference, this is going to happen a lot. Yep. I mean, Vanderbilt going down to Athens, JP, get the bell ready, and picking up a 73-66 win down there after going to Arkansas and winning. I mean, what is Vanderbilt?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you're right. This is just and we've said it so many times, this is a wide open SEC. Now, right now, it certainly appears that Auburn is by far the best team in the SEC and probably should be the number one team in the country, if not for some random guy in Kansas who has them at 9th in his AP ballot.
Oh, so, Lord, we're poll shaming now, huh?
Well, this is the same guy who left 19-2 Auburn out of his AP poll last year completely.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. So,
okay, man,
we're not poll shaming anybody except that guy. Because this basically what he does, he takes the KenPom ratings and copies them and
votes it. Wow.
Yeah, he just copies the KenPom and sure, whatever. I mean, that if that's what you do, then at least you're consistent, right? So we'll take that. But Auburn has 11 more first place votes than Gonzaga, and yet the Bulldogs come in at number 1. So that was a little weird. That probably doesn't happen often, Mo.
The Bulldogs come in at number 1 with 4 total points more than Auburn. And if you know how the top 25 works, the 25th ranked team gets 1 point, the first ranked team on your ballot gets 25 points, and then they tally them all up. So if Auburn gets one more person's vote, probably they're number 1.
Yeah. Or, if they're in the top 5 of that guy from Kansas. I can't remember his name. Don't care to. But nonetheless, if only there were a common opponent between the two to know who might be better, Mo. Alabama went to Seattle, defeated Gonzaga, and Auburn beat Alabama on the road. So I don't know. That's
we've talked though at every level. It seems like head to head is really not.
It's irrelevant.
The factor that it seems like it should be. In a lot of instances.
One would think. Would think. Tennessee stayed in at number 24 in the AP poll. I'm a little surprised by that as well. But I still think this team is really good. I think they have the potential to be really good. And by the time March rolls around, who knows? So it's interesting to me. But this SEC schedule has continued, like you said, to get wild throughout the season. It's only going to get crazier because I truly believe, like you said, Mo, anybody on any given night. I mean, I don't put it past Vanderbilt to take down Tennessee tomorrow. I really don't.
No. 4 SEC teams in the top 25 and 2 others receiving votes. So
This is going to be a really good SEC basketball season. If you're not watching it, you certainly should be. All right, let's take a halftime break here, Mo, because I got a question I need to ask you. So
Halftime feels pretty good. I'm a little fatigued right now.
No question. I'm gonna take a quick break. Halftime. Right after this, stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader-building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company.
It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
At the end of this show, we will have a pretty big announcement. Don't forget, later in the show, we have a huge announcement coming, so you're going to want to stick around for that. No question. It's announcement time. We bring you the big reveal. Going forward, we will be exclusively seen on our social media accounts. But if you want to hear this show in your car, you're going to have to download the podcast. We will bring you a lot more Main Street preps, Main Street coverage. And with that, we must brand ourselves Main Street Sports today.
Let's do it.
Welcome back into Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Got a little break. Although, as we're going to break in that last segment, Mo, I hear this random woman's voice. And I'm like, I know Sarah is not in here talking that loud because, I mean, she knows we're on the air and she just doesn't do that. Like, I'm very confused as to where this voice is coming from. I look over my left shoulder and my Alexa, I'm going to say that quietly. So, nope, she's still lit up, is lit up talking. Yeah, she's still listening now.
What did you say to trigger her?
I didn't say the word. So I have no idea why she just randomly started talking. It was so weird. I was very confused. And I was like, where is that voice coming from?
She has something to say.
You saw me look over my shoulder if you were watching the video, and I was like, what in the world? Anyway, that was weird. Anyway, let's get back into it here because we had a little text chain going, obviously, on over the weekend, and the NFL playoffs started off really good. Cincinnati Bengals with the win, and it was a really good ball game. It came down to a final drive, and thought, man, what a great day to or what a great game to start the NFL playoffs. And then it was like, yeah, and that's going to do it. I mean, seriously, the playoffs, the first round to this point have been awfully ho-hum. I mean, even the 49ers Cowboys, which was a 6-point game, was, it wasn't, it never felt in doubt. So
I don't know, man. Anytime Jimmy G is playing, I don't think anything is in doubt until it's over with. But I understand what you're saying, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. But it could have been a lot more comfortable for San Francisco than it turned out being, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't kick 3 field goals in the first half, it's a blowout, period. So it just felt like every game was meh, ho hum.
Mhm.
And let's talk about that. Let's talk about that Cowboys 49ers game because I'd mentioned
But,
how it
but,
kind of.
but before we do that, let's go back to your every game was kind of meh. Is that adding the number 17?
I don't think so. I think it was just a product of this particular year. I mean, the Bills and Patriots who played, who split the regular season is a 30-point ball game in the playoffs.
So, but the Bills were what? The Bills were the number 3 seed.
Yeah, I mean they were 11-6 and 10-7 were the Patriots. I mean they were just one game off,
Mm-hmm.
and the Bills obviously won the division. It's just I don't know. I don't think it was necessarily that they added the extra team, although the Steelers had no business being in the playoffs at all.
Well, and I guess it really didn't affect anything because, I mean, in a 16 playoff, it still would have been 3-6-4-5, and then 1 and 2 would have gotten the buys. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
So you'd have basically had the same matchups, only you wouldn't have had the Steelers or the Eagles in. So
JP throws up our text chain where he was perfect, I believe, to this point.
5-0 at this point.
Well, and so of course he throws that up. Yeah.
Well, I really thought the Cowboys were going to be in the Super Bowl. I really did. I thought Dak Prescott was in the perfect position to take that team to the next level. And then they run a quarterback draw with 12 seconds to go.
That Mike McCarthy tried to sell in the post game as being the right call. It's the right call. No, clearly it wasn't. And
basically he put it on Dak for not sliding earlier is essentially what he did.
Well, and that's what desperate people do. I'm expecting Jerry Jones to do something seismic this week.
I don't remember who I was listening to or who I was talking to, where I heard this, and it may have been, I just don't remember. You guys may remember. It may have been us. But it's odd that Jerry Jones has never pulled an Alabama by trying to go get the best possible coach he can possibly get and pay them however much money it takes to be the coach of the Cowboys.
Well, who is that?
He had one back in the 90s, and you saw how that turned.
Well,
it's his ego.
There you go.
That's the question that a lot of people said was, or the comment was, he likes to meddle too much, and a championship coach isn't going to let him meddle.
Boom.
Maybe he just needs to coach. If that's what you want to do,
he'd be better off.
I mean, this is kind of my thing.
I mean, when you've got Bill Parcells and you've got Jimmy Johnson, and you can't keep either one of them because you can't stay the heck out the way, then you get what you get.
You get what you get. That I think is the thing. And a lot of folks putting some blame on the NFL officiating, and while they had some trouble over the weekend, and
if you commit 14 penalties in a game, you can't blame the officials for anything.
I guess that depends on whether or not you think all 14 of those were fouls. But
let's say half of them were fouls. That's still 7.
The gripe is obviously the umpire standing over the ball a little longer than maybe he should have, or why
that
he
dude
was standing
doing the
there.
best. That dude was doing the best he could to get out the way, man. That was just
not on the final, the play before that,
okay.
where the Cowboys subbed a little late with about 12 seconds to go on the play clock.
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes up there and stands to give the 49ers a chance to sub, because that's what you do.
Right.
If you sub, they can sub. And a lot of folks are saying, well, 49ers had already subbed, so get out of the way. And on the final play, this is my question, Mo. Moving the umpire behind the play was the biggest issue in that, because he had to run 30 yards, because he couldn't run past the lineman. He couldn't run past the play to go get the ball from Dak, right? He had to wait for everybody to get up there, and then he runs into Dak on the way to get the ball and all of that.
And so, the point that I've seen being made again and again is that Dak should have given him the ball.
He absolutely should have. You give the ball to the official. The one person you cannot give the ball to is anybody wearing white. You do not give the ball to your player.
Yeah.
Find a stripe and give them the football.
When you know it's got to be touched into play, basically. So
it's insane. So Jerome, what's his name?
Bogar
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're awful. We know their crew's awful. They've been in Tennessee enough.
Well, here's the thing. That wasn't his crew, though. It's an all-star crew for the playoffs.
Well, that's even worse. Anyway, that crew won't be working anymore, according to the NFL. So they won't be in the playoffs any longer. I guess it is what it is. But Cowboy fans threw a bunch of stuff on the field because they were mad at the officials, and I'm just wondering where the media outrage is for it.
Well, NFL writers and college writers are not the same guys.
Just, being funny.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. All right. Look, maybe tonight is going to be better. I hope tonight is better. I'm looking forward to it. I think this game will be a good game.
I think this might be the best game of the weekend. Of course, that's a pretty low bar, but still, I'm looking forward to this one.
Let's talk about it a little bit later. We got Teresa Walker coming up on the other side of the break, and we'll talk about the Titans and the Bengals and that sort of thing. And then to close the show, we will talk about the Cardinals, Rams, Matt Stafford, Kyler Murray, both looking for their first playoff win. So should be a good one. Let's get into it. So when we come back, Reaction Monday continues with Teresa Walker of the Associated Press here on Main Street Sports Today. Stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports today. I don't know if you guys are following us on Twitter, you may have noticed a slight change. The Twitter handle has in fact made a migration to MS_sports today. We kept the underscore in there because we love it. We love the underscore apparently.
Just because we wanted to mess with people.
MS_sports today, Main Street Sports today. So find us. We appreciate you following along on Twitter. And of course, our podcast is available. You can find the link on that Twitter handle as well in our Twitter bio. The link is there. You can watch the show on that website that is there, or listen to the podcast at your leisure. Time, because I guess technically there's still a game left in the playoffs, but the Titans know who they're playing. And so it's time to welcome in from the Associated Press, Teresa Walker, to talk about the Titans and the Cincinnati Bengals, who got their first playoff win since, I guess, technically 1991, the 1990 season, which ironically was against the Houston Oilers. So let's not continue that trend this week. And looking forward to Saturday at 3:30 kickoff, Titans and Bengals at Nissan Stadium. Teresa Walker joining us now. Teresa, how are you?
I'm good. And one thing to note, Cincinnati Bengals have played 7 road playoff games in their history. And for a franchise that's made it to a Super Bowl, they are winless on the road. Houston Texans are like 0-4 as well. So I haven't double checked, but they may be the 2 NFL teams who've never, ever won a playoff game away from home.
Well, you can take that 2 ways, though, Teresa. One of which being that maybe they're due, and that's not the one that Titans want to hear.
Oh, no, absolutely not. But on the other hand, Titans are also due because, twice before they've been the number 1 seed and not won their divisional game. So, it depends, Mo, if you're a half glass full or empty kind of person this week. I will say this, Mike Vrabel talked to us that he wasn't happy that we stretched to 20 minutes. I think he was, kind of sold on the idea of 10 minutes. But, hey, we hadn't talked to him since last Wednesday, and now we know the opponent, so we kind of needed to talk to him. But that's the thing. The Titans, this is their chance, right? And we'll, asked about how much this rest is going to help. And he said, we'll find out Saturday. Did they do the right things? Did they rest? Did they do, find that line, making sure you stay conditioned, et cetera? But guys, I think the biggest difference, yes, these franchises, last time they played in the postseason, Cincinnati won. Then they didn't win again for 31 years. Yes, the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Titans the only time that they played with Joe Burrow, which was 2020, and the Bengals handed the Titans just their second loss that season. Two of the areas the Titans struggled in that game, red zone, third down defense. Those are 2 areas that this Titans team has dramatically improved in. So I'm just going to say that I think they're going to have a chance to be better because, as I'm looking at the third down defense, Titans were number 6 in third down situations this year, 36.6%. Huge improvement from 52% last season. So, but guys, the message Mike Vrabel's been sending from last week, almost since the game ended in Houston, to now, and I'm sure he's going to continue pounding it. Any mistake, it's postseason. It's like a Klieg light is on everything you do. So a turnover can be the turnover. A penalty can be the thing that does you in. So it's opportunity. Seize the moment and just understand that. Shoot. See how the game in Dallas ended yesterday? 14 penalties. You could look to. We can all point to 2 specific areas and say, yeah, that's where those were biggies. And that's what Mike Vrabel's trying to sell to his team. Make sure you're on your P's and Q's and ready to go, because to get to where you want, you better be ready.
Teresa, I'm just not sure really how much you can take from the last time the Titans and the Bengals played. I mean, Joe Burrow is basically a year older, a year better, a year more comfortable in what he's doing. And the defense that he saw last year, like you said, it's not the same unit. I mean, it's apples and lug nuts, it feels like. I just don't know that you can say, well, Cincinnati beat them last year. So it doesn't make sense to me to simplify it like that.
Oh yeah, and Joe Burrow's got some guy named Jamar Chase, and and here's the thing, Mike Keith is the guy who apparently dropped the stat last week. Out of 1,133 offensive snaps by the Tennessee Titans this season, take a guess at how many times they had Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Julio Jones on the field for all three, all 3 of them for snaps.
Out of how many snaps?
20 snaps. Out of 1,133 snaps, they had that trio on the field. They're triplets, if you want to call them that, for 120 snaps. Barely a game and a half. And, right now we're all kind of expecting, him to be activated. I'm just going to say, please, Titans, don't do what the Cardinals did and activate him, hours before kickoff. That might drive people insane. It's like, y'all could go ahead and activate him tomorrow. I'm checking my email. I don't see anything right now, but, the sooner the better, at least from our standpoint. We all expect Derrick Henry back. You got A.J. Brown and Julio had their best game in the regular season finale that they've had since the Bills game in October. So, at the moment, things seem to be trending in the Titans' way. And guys, as Mo mentioned, I mean, shoot, the Bengals, they've already put one of their defensive tackles, Larry, I'm gonna butcher his name, but they put him on IR today with a foot injury. One of their other defensive tackles, Trey Hendrickson, has got a concussion. And then there's another defensive tackle who was dealing with a groin issue. So, and I don't know about y'all, but I saw the Raiders able to run against that defense in Cincinnati with Joe Mixon. So, they've got Deontay Foreman. We think they'll have Derrick Henry. And then, they've got those other things going on. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see.
I'm interested in the fact that Cincinnati only rushed for 83 yards against the Raiders. I don't see the number of carries, but it's like the run game was hardly there. 25 carries, 83 yards. So I mean, from a defensive standpoint, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Makes an offense kind of one-sided, doesn't it?
And I think if Tennessee, from a defensive standpoint, only has to worry about the passing game. Now, obviously, like you said, Jamar Chase and some of the guys that they've got in the passing game, T. Higgins getting back home or close there too. But still, if they only have to worry about Burrow throwing the ball, then can't they just lay their ears back and go get him?
You would think that would certainly be a chance, and I pulled up those numbers. The Bengals ran 25 times for 83 yards, an average of 3.3 yards. Jamar Chase is the guy who had the longest run, 15 yards, and then they threw the ball 34 times. So, and the Raiders got through for 2 sacks. So, got to think that, and guys, Bud Dupree, I mean, the Titans have a pass rush, which they didn't have in 2020. You've got Bud Dupree, who has looked better with each and every game passing. Jeffrey Simmons, Harold Landry, they've had time to rest. You've got your secondary there. I mean, Kevin Byard, an all-pro. I'm just, this just seems to be setting up nicely for the Tennessee Titans. Yeah, Joe Burrow is amazing. And, they have every reason to think, they've got lots of things ahead of them in the future. This is going to be their first road game. And it's sold out. And, so it's like Mike Vrabel said, he's expecting an amazing atmosphere on Saturday because you're going to have people there to, get things going. And it's just, I don't want to look too far ahead. This might be the game where the Tennessee Titans are able to get off the schneid, so to speak. I mean, they're certainly the odds-on favorite. They're a 3-point favorite by FanDuel Sportsbook, and I saw another one had them at 3.5. So, right now the Titans are favored to win this game. And Mike Vrabel and his staff started preparing for potential opponents last week, and we all know that one stat: 8-0 when they have extra time to prepare for an opponent.
Which is
And
always
what's interesting about that is if they win this game, they're going to have extra time for the next one as well.
They get an extra day because the Bills and the Chiefs, everyone's expecting an offensive showdown and lots of fireworks in that game, and that's the game that they kick off at 5:30 on Sunday. So, Titans get an extra day to rest, an extra day to prep. Both of them are opponents that, if you advance as the Titans, you've played both the Bills and the Chiefs this season. You beat both the Bills and the Chiefs this season. And for all the talk about the Chiefs and their improvement and their, the way their defense has played down the stretch, Titans, same thing. Their defense has taken major strides over the final half of the season. And, with Buffalo, that may have been the tightest game that the Titans had in their 6-game winning streak. But, they've won now 2 straight against the Bills. They know them, and they know them very well. So I don't think there's anything about either team coming, if either team comes to Nashville, I don't think they'll have a problem.
I'm curious about the workload of Derrick Henry and how Deontay Foreman plays into that. It's likely that we see them get about the same amount of carries unless one of them is just really hot. Am I right? Or have you seen anything that says differently, Teresa?
Well, Chris, the problem is Derrick Henry's still on IR. So,
right.
He's not carried in a game since October 31st, but Correct. He's also Derrick Henry. So, that's the thing. Mike Vrabel said they want to see him, reading some blocking schemes and doing some things on the field, but it's going to be very interesting to see.
Teresa, there's no chance he doesn't play Saturday, is there?
I think we would all be stunned, Mo, if Derrick Henry is not activated and it plays in this game. I mean, everybody's expecting it. By the way, it would be January 22nd. In the year 2022. So, it just seems like everything is setting up for a Derrick Henry return. And, when you think about the playoff run of 2 years ago when they got to the AFC Championship, literally on Derrick Henry's back and legs, it's tough not to get excited. But, talking about that workload, is it 10 carries and get him at, and balance it like that? Mike Vrabel said today they're going to be running the ball. No team had more carries rushing attempts this season than the Tennessee Titans. They edged out the Eagles by 551 to 550. But, that's where their offense is predicated off the ability to run the ball. And so got to think that they're going to be running 30, maybe 35 times optimally. So is it maybe Derrick Henry gets 15, Deontay Foreman gets 10, Hilliard 5? I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see how this goes forward because, I think it all depends on how Derrick Henry is feeling and how he runs the ball. If he comes out there and gets into a run, I mean, shoot, there's been times where he's had 6, 7, 8 carries in one drive. So I think we're just going to have to, stay tuned. And again, I make the plea, John Robinson, Mike Vrabel, go ahead and activate him sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, activating him really puts the pressure on Cincinnati, not on us. I mean, I guess it's one less active roster spot if you're not planning on using him, but I don't. To me, it puts more pressure on their defensive coaching staff to have him activated than not. So I don't know. I do know that he only needs 11,558 rushing yards against Cincinnati this Saturday to eclipse Emmitt Smith's current all-time rushing record. So 11,558 is the number.
Well, I'm just going to say this, and I'm about to lose my thought there. Oh, damn it. It's slipping away. It may be a competitive gamesmanship, just don't activate him until later. Me, as somebody who's trying to plan my coverage for the week and which stories I'm writing on which days, because I put in a line to try to promise and give people heads up, I, completely selfishly here, all about me, do it sooner than later.
Oh, we agree. Teresa Walker, Associated Press. Thanks for joining us as always on Monday. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Mo, let's talk about our guy, Matt Stafford, on the other side of a break. Looking forward to it. Can't wait to see him in a playoff game. We'll be right back on Main Street Sports today after these messages, so stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. In 5 years and 9 days, 5 years to the date, I'm sorry, since Matt Stafford has played in a postseason football game. 5 years. He's only played in 3 in his entire career. Still looking for postseason win number one?
Well, that's because each of those previous three were with the Lions.
That's correct. And here's the thing. This will be his first home playoff game in his career.
That's because each of the previous three were for the Lions.
It's really unfortunate how a guy like Matthew Stafford has been able to be consistently good at his job and still not find success as most people measure it, right?
Football's a team sport.
Football is a team sport. Matthew Stafford, who is 34 years old, 33 years old, I think his birthday is like early February. So he's almost 34. And all season long, he's been as good as Los Angeles could have asked. He's done everything the Rams have needed him to do. They went 12-5 on the year. They've got to be feeling good going into this game.
I think he's done what they brought him in to do.
Just solidify the position.
Take advantage of the weapons around him.
And Arizona, conversely, going in a different direction. Now, obviously, they got the win last week against the Cowboys or whatever, or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. But these two teams seem to be heading in different directions. The Rams in a positive direction, the Cardinals not so positive. And in the playoffs, that doesn't always bode well for the better team necessarily.
I think we just saw that yesterday.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this particular game. I think like you said earlier, it's going to be the best game of the weekend. And as low of a bar as that is, these two teams are really complementary of one another. I think you're going to get a good offense against a good defense on both sides. And it's going to be what NFL football playoffs should look like.
You know, when you say that Arizona has been trending in the wrong direction, I think a lot of that has to do with, hasn't J.J. Watt been kind of in and out, mostly out down the stretch?
He has, yes.
A guy.
But I do believe he's back.
I think he's back. I think he's expected to be back. But I mean, that's when he's on the field. That's certainly a strength for the Cardinals, particularly when you've got Chandler Jones on the other side. And we saw him up close and personal in the season opener, and Ryan Tannehill particularly saw him up close and personal, probably closer than Taylor Lewan did. But, when both those guys are out there, they make that defense really good, and they make it really tough for opposing quarterbacks. So.
Yes, but the Rams have Aaron Donald.
They do have Aaron Donald. Absolutely. They also got Jalen Ramsey.
They've got Jalen Ramsey in the defensive backfield. I think, again, these two quarterbacks are going to have the work cut out for them, but they're both capable of making those big plays. And, between these two teams, I feel like the Rams probably have the advantage. I think they have a more experienced quarterback. I think Aaron Donald is probably going to disrupt the Cardinals' offensive line more so than the Cardinals will disrupt the Rams. So I don't know. What are your feelings?
I feel like when things break down offensively, that Kyler Murray can be an X factor in a way that obviously Matthew Stafford isn't capable of. And I wonder if that's not going to be the difference in this ball game.
Certainly could be. These two teams played a month ago. Los Angeles came out with a 30-23 win. Rams really kind of controlled that game in the second half. So
what happened in the first game? Because they would have played
see.
twice.
There was Arizona pretty well put it on them, 37-20. This is when Arizona was as good as it gets. And so that was also at SoFi for one, but it was in week 4. So
they've each won at the other one's place?
That's correct. The road team won in both. So you tell me.
Yeah. So we're back at SoFi tonight, right?
Back at SoFi tonight. But I gotta feel like you're feeling better about it if you are an Arizona fan. So JP's got the Cardinals over the Rams. You too have the Cardinals. I believe I picked the Rams, but I'm not entirely sure because I can't see it. I did. There we go.
You did.
I really feel like the Rams have this game. I don't know. That's just me. I'm picking Matt Stafford. I'm going with Stafford.
And that's not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick. And I mean, I would not necessarily be disappointed if Stafford does get the win. We got a lot of local ties on that Rams team, in addition to the aforementioned Jalen Ramsey, who played his high school ball at Brentwood Academy. You've also got the receiver Van Jefferson from Ravenwood and a tight end Bryson Hopkins, who played at Ensworth. So a lot of local ties, a lot of local folks keeping an eye on this ball game tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, that is at 7:15 tonight on ESPN/ABC Monday Night Football. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you missed any part of the day's show, you can go back and watch it on Twitter, on YouTube. You can find our Twitter link, MS_sports today on Twitter. There's a link in our bio. And for much more, just keep following us and download the podcast, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating. We'd appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow at 2:00. For Mo and JP, I'm Chris Yao saying have a great day. See you next time.